Hey everyone! Hey everyone, Spin Pixie here, and I was tagged by Blue Whisper to do the Witchy First tag. And I don't have a lot of the things that I used to use when I first entered the craft, because a lot of things have been repurposed or have kind of gone by the wayside to make room for new things. And it's just kind of something that happens sometimes when you start in the craft. There are things that I do have since the very beginning, but they're way across the room and I didn't think to get them. I'm an idiot. But anyway, move over, cat, move. Just don't even start right now. Don't even start. It's my water. My cat and my dog have both decided to make their presence known that they would like this cup of water I possess. Get on, buddy. Get on. Okay. So I had a servitor. And I didn't know that I had a servitor when I was younger. And I didn't realize this until I started reading up more on what a servitor does. And my mom made it for me. And I don't think she knew that. I didn't know that she made it for me. But, okay. So, my mom had made me and my sister and my little brother these yarn dolls. And, I had this yarn doll that, I used. And in my dreams, I would send him out to do stuff. Like if somebody was mean or whatever, in my childlike way, he was sort of my servitor. He would go and get them back. He would play tricks on them. And he was my very first sort of servitor in a kind of a loose interpretive way. If I was sick and I needed my mom to be there, and I was too weak to get up and go get her, I would send him to wake her up, like in a dream, and she'd end up coming in my room. And that kind of thing worked a lot, I think because she made him. But he was just a yarn doll, and basically when you make a yarn doll, they have this like spiky, puffy hair, and they have a rock in their head, but I did some alterations. I took the rock out of his head, because I didn't want him to be a big old rock brain. And then I made some other alterations to him. And he was very heavily Metallica inspired, let's just say. So anyway, at some point I figured it was time for him to go to bed. So I slowly dismembered him, and I had him for about 3 or 4 years. And it just felt right to sort of slowly say goodbye. I didn't throw it away. I didn't do anything like that. I kind of lovingly took him apart. Because he wasn't needed anymore. So he was my very first magical tool, I think. And then the next thing that I had that I no longer have are incense burners that I made out of foil. And I think I've talked about these before. They were it was a sheet of foil. I folded it, and folded it until it was like a thick sort of strip. And then I poked a hole in the side, or the top of it, and I used it as an incense burner. My grandma gave me some very beautiful advice when I was younger, and the advice she gave me is that foil doesn't burn. So I use foil for a lot of things. Because I didn't have anything in the beginning. She used to be able to make champagne cups out of foil, and she actually did that for me so I could use it as a candle holder. I only used it once because I was able to go out and purchase candle holders shortly after. But I did keep it until it got really folded up, so then I had to throw it out. But a lot of my stuff in the beginning was makeshift. I have done 2 pentacles, which I think I've shown before, out of terracotta. One which I have here. And reach, and retrieve, and back, and ow. This is my terracotta pentacle I have. I absolutely love it. It was just terracotta clay. Got it, rolled it out, made it a ball, rolled it out, and carved a pentacle. A lot of things that I had, I don't have anymore because I was stupid. And case in point, I've always loved redwood trees. Redwood trees and oaks and rowan trees. I've always loved those kinds of trees. But where I grew up, we didn't have those kinds of trees. So my first experience where I encountered a redwood, I wanted a wand. And I wanted a wand because I didn't know if I would ever see a redwood tree again. And so my friend's cousin obliged me by hopping up a tree and picking out a branch for me and tossing it down to me. And so technically it was a fallen branch. So so I had that little piece of redwood. It was like this big, and it was just a nice wand feely sort of piece of wood. It was beautiful, and I took a sandpaper and I sanded it down, and I was just very loving to it, and I loved it. It was just a piece of wood, and I loved it. Later on, I had that from the time I was probably 18 or 19, until I was like 20 some odd. And then I met a friend at the time who made wands, and he made beautiful wands with crystals and all this other stuff. Excuse me. And he offered to make me a wand, and I told him could he use the redwood, and I would love to have a redwood wand. And he said he would use it, and then when he took one look at it, he's like, oh, this is wrong with it, and this is wrong with it, and this is that, and then he's basically tossed it in like his firewood pit. He's like, I'll make you a better wand. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, if there's really that many things wrong with it, do you really want the branch? And like, I didn't really consider the fact that it actually meant something to me. So I let him make me a wand, which, by the way, he never made me. And so I ended up with no wand. So yeah, mistake. But I mean, that was my favorite branch thing. But you know, next time I have a redwood branch, I'll be the one that picks it up and retrieves it. So, yeah. So, that was my first wand. Would not be my last. I actually do have a staff outside that I have yet to start working on because I don't have any sandpaper. I need to grab some very heavy-duty sandpaper and sand it down. But I do have a staff I want to start working on. And yeah, so I've had a few interesting things for altar decor. So my witchy firsts range from very makeshift to very beautiful. And it's just really all about when you start out with what you got. I think it really means a lot more to start out with random mishmash of things, because you get to really see how things have grown. Like, I see my first altar setup, it was a white baby blanket, like a receiving blanket, over a tall, long table made of compressed wood, which I absolutely loved that altar. I gave it to my mom to use as a table, never saw it again, but I absolutely loved that altar. And it had like my crazy mishmash of things on it, and it was beautiful to me. And every single tool I put on that altar, I did with great reverence and, care. I would cleanse and consecrate my tools every single week or every time I did a spell. I was very, I was a lot different back then with my things because they came from all over. They came from my mom, my grandma, my aunts, wherever, I could find them. The earth, my imagination. And they were very sacred, and not to say that anything I do is any different or any less now. It's just that I remember the newness of my craft. And when you start off by buying a whole bunch of things when you first enter the craft, especially if they're like expensive things, they're just going to fall in place with all the other things that you buy, because it's all, bought from somewhere and expensive from somewhere and stuff like that. I remember my entry into the craft and my first altar because of the things that I was given and had to make. I remember just how it was, that feeling of being new, being a new witch, finding your path, casting that first circle, how the feeling was. I remember stuff like that from being new to the craft. And those are memories that I cherish greatly. And I don't think that I would have those memories quite the same if I bought everything that I used in my practice. So that's my Witchy First tag, and I'd like to thank Blue Whisper for tagging me. I'm going to put her link in the description to her channel. And I hope that you guys will do this tag, so everybody is tagged. Rain Poppy, Moon Mist, Noah Tempestari, all my new witches, Bryn Yates, all you guys who are new to YouTube, I'm tagging you guys because I want your names to get out there. And you guys should go check out their channels. They have awesome videos. So I'm tagging all of my new witches. If I have Sora Vita, I'm tagging you too. Anyone else who is new to YouTube, I'm tagging you all. And so, yeah. So go check out the newer witches, and there you go. So I will see you guys in the next one, and many blessings. Bye-bye.